you're ready for the Hamptons all-white party.
Let's see if I get invited.
Keep on back!
Hey, it's Eli Johnson with POCculture.com. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.
So first, I always like to kind of go back to the beginning of the venture. So when you were approached to take on the series, was it a daunting thing to do a follow-up to such a revered film like John Wick? And how did that meeting go?
I didn't even think about it. I think maybe because it's set in the 70s, and that's a opportunity to reverse engineer what we all love from the film series. And I think I'm missing a chromosome because I just didn't feel any pressure or any of that at the time. And I'm glad I didn't, because I had the time of my life doing it.
Absolutely. And, I know we talked about the blaxploitation kind of flavor that you kind of wanted to implement in there, but were there any hard and fast rules about how closely to keep the aesthetic of the show to the movies? And what stylistic elements did you kind of want to include in the Continental to make it unique from the movies?
No, if anything, I was encouraged to make it my own stylistically. They actually were very supportive and confident in that. Talked to Chad Stahelski, the director of the movies. He told me his influences, which is, kind of Bob Fosse movies, musicals, Hong Kong cinema. And he asked me, "What's your inspirations? What do you like in movies?" And okay. So that was quite easy. And then as a fan of the John Wick film series, you're able to pull things out that you like. And there's a few things that are quite common between the film series and the TV series. And that is you have to use grand locations, interesting locations, interesting and cool wardrobe, idiosyncratic characters. And the hard and fast rule is don't bore the audience. So that's pretty straightforward, easy stuff to absorb, but executing it is another challenge.
Absolutely. And as the show takes place in the 70s, the tone of the show is slightly more different to that of the films. It's a little bit more, a little bit more hyper, a little bit more faster paced, as opposed to the heavier handed and kind of sterile, kind of like serious tone. Why was that approach taken as opposed to kind of continuing that or expounding on it?
Because what I get from the film series is it does have a sense of humor. It may not be the TV show's sense of humor, but their sense of humor is done through the kind of physical, the violence and the playfulness with that, right? So I have the opportunity to use needle drops from the 1970s, and that kind of tells the audience you're here for a good time. The Wick films tell the audience you're here for a good time too, because it's an escapism in a parallel kind of universe, it feels like, in a way, this very mysterious mythological setting of a subculture of assassins, right? And I think they wink and nod at the audience, and the TV show winks and nods in a slightly different way, which is, I like humor. I think also Black culture and going to the Black movie theaters growing up, you know what I'm talking about. It's like it's an experience, and they know how to have a good time with a drama. They know how to have a good time with a comedy and an action movie. And I just wanted to convey to the audience a sense of playfulness. And I did get that inspiration from the Wick films. It's just my version of it is just slightly to the left.
Got you. That definitely makes sense. And it really comes across in the show. And, the show is extremely well cast. You've got some veteran actors on the roster, including Mel Gibson, who plays Cormac, one of my favorite characters in the recent additions. Can you share any moments where any of the actors brought something to a scene that wasn't originally there, but really ended up adding to the character?
Well, Mel does that all the time traditionally in his history with Lethal Weapons, the zingers, the one-liners. He's great at that. But there's a particular actor that I remember when you're saying that is Adam Shapiro, who played Lemmy. In the third episode, he's coming down to the mailroom with a gun, and one of the mailroom attendants pops up from the back of a Xerox machine. And I said, "Adam, go," because he's wonderful at ad-lib and improv. And I said, I'd worked with him in the past, and I kept encouraging him, just go. So he started talking about her tattoo. And at first he goes, "Hi," because he realized she was good looking. And I told her off camera, don't say any dialogue because I want him to go on a run. So he started going, "What is that? A worm tattoo? Oh, is it a snake?" And then he gets closer, goes, "Now that I get closer, I see that it's an octopus. How cool." And then she just boom, punches him in the throat. That was all ad lib. And I felt like it was a Christmas morning. I go, "Oh my God, this is why I hired this guy." He just tickled me pink. and I was buzzing for a week behind that ad lib because it's something that's not on the page, and that's what a great actor with humor can do. And Colin Woodall, who plays Winston, actually is really witty and can come back very quickly. The ascot exchange in episode 1, where he said no, that Lemmy says no, that ascot was a mistake, and Winston says it's a cravat. That's an ad lib, and then him saying "F you" back is an ad lib, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm just happy.
The banter is definitely top notch in this series. The banter is excellent, and what do you feel like is kind of like the overarching theme? Like, what is the takeaway for the viewers as far as like what you want them to walk away with feeling, thinking, reviewing about the show, The Continental?
I mean, it's interesting. Someone pointed out to me what the theme was, and I didn't realize it. And it shows how smarter I am. They said everybody in the show comes from a broken past or trauma, and they're all just deeply in search of a family and bonding. And I'm like, whoa, I did not see that. But if you track all the characters, that's what it is. They all come from this really tragic past or past events, and they've lost family members or mothers and fathers or sisters or brothers. And then they all kind of just find each other by accident because of one common mission, and they bond, and they end up with a family.
That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. And something I think viewers will want to pay attention to is kind of like that found family element that's really in there. Because the characters definitely have a lot of soul, even though like it's a very brutal series, but there's like a lot of heart in it too at the same time. So without giving any spoilers away, I kind of always like to see how close I can get. What is your favorite episode out of the 3 and why? But without giving any spoilers.
I would say it was 3. It's episode 3 because it's wild, it's crazy, and episode 1 and 2 are building to crazy, right? And we didn't know if we can pull it off because we don't have all the budget in the world, but we ain't hurting, and we have all these variables going on. We have 57 minutes nonstop of a takeover of a hotel, which mostly deals with action set pieces, and we don't have the schedule of a big major motion picture. But hats off to the crew and the cast. Like, they looked at that running into a fire with a smile on their face, and it came off seamlessly. And what I mean by that is, it's not bragging. It's more that usually you have to do reshoots and pickups and things like that to clean up any project. That's the dirty little secret that goes on in creating any movie or TV show. It's not so dirty. It's just part of the creative process. There was not one reshoot or pickup shot done for 3. That's how well oiled the machine was by then. And what I love about 3, and the audience should know this, is I watched it after it settled 5 times, and I still couldn't absorb all the information that was coming at me, because it's compact and it's really dense, and the scenes come by quick. And I remember reading the script and thinking, oh my God, that scene's cool. That's cool. 10 pages later, I'm like, I just read like 5 cool things there I forgot about, because now here's some new cool stuff. It's just a rapid fire, and it's very deceptive, episode 3, because it starts out like episode 1 and 2, which is traditional storytelling, kind of slowly telling what's going on. And at the 25-minute mark, it just turns sideways.
Absolutely. Well, The Continental is a really fantastic thrill ride. I think people are definitely going to enjoy it as soon as it comes out on Peacock. Thank you so much for your time today, Albert, and congratulations on the show. It has been fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I like your suit and your background, by the way.
Thank you so much. I didn't dress up yesterday, so I'm like, you know what? I think today this is the last part.
You're ready for the Hamptons all white party.
Let's see if I get invited. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.